Let's take a look at our next drill in our body positioning series here for freestyle. So this drill is going to be a variation of the body positioning 6 kick switch without fins. So that'll be the big difference here. In this drill, it will be in kind of a of a progression, and will be a little bit very challenging for the athletes because the fins make it significantly easier to keep everything up here at the surface. So let's go over some of the key points here, which will be very similar to the this version of the drill with fins on, but we'll notice some kind of differences, especially here with the legs. So what do we look for here? We're going to start out in a side position. So here the conduit and everything's off a little bit to the side. Younger swimmers, we would probably promote this much openness between the hips and shoulders. Older athletes, probably a little bit less. Key thing here, though, to see is that the hips and shoulders are going to be popped. The head here is going to be resting along the surface of the water. A great cue here is to kind of think of your head like a pillow, and we keep everything very low. And then we want to look at the legs and the kick. How are the legs moving? We'd love to see these feet be in a very pointed position. So we'll take a little bit of a closer look at that when we get to an underwater view. And regardless of the position that you're kicking in, whether it's going to be the side, a flat, or a side position, then we're going to want to see the same thing. So then after 6 kicks, then we're going to switch. And here we've got a great rotation. So then we look here for the head positioning, just nice and flat. And here we can kind of see the feet actually being in that hyper pointed position, just like you're wearing a fin, and the other foot's doing the exact same thing. As then we're going to rotate over to the other side. Here our athlete does a great job of keeping the feet at the surface. That's really what we would love to see from our athletes when they're doing this drill. Keeping that kick at the surface, generating some white water or some boiling water. All those cues really mean the same thing. We just really kind of want to see those feet stay near the surface when they're kicking. So kind of thunder kicking would be another cue that you could give your athletes. Here on the opposite side, the hips and shoulders are going to be up. Then the other side here is down. We look for here then the head positioning to be in just that very flat part as we're moving through the water, and then we're going just through that cycle. The important thing is just make sure you remember that kick stays nice and strong, so that it makes it also easier for the athlete to stay up. In real time, when your athletes are doing this, the 6 kick should allow for a little bit more kicking, so that way the athletes don't feel like they're going to kind of be just constantly spinning. We'd like them to kind of feel nice and long as they're moving through the water. So we're going to begin our transition here under the water. So we said we want to kind of look for those same things with the kick. So we want to see the feet here being pointed as we're moving through the water. So we've got both feet pointing here, which we really like. We want to watch here that we don't kick too deep under the water. So kind of starting out here, we see our athlete doing that. This is a little bit kind of deeper than we'd like, and we kind of see that the athlete struggles to keep the feet at the surface. So you want to kind of keep the legs here, if our yellow line's the surface, just kind of right around there. The deeper the legs go, they'll return up, but they'll kind of stay a little bit below the surface. Kind of see that right there, just like in that leg. So we want to kind of keep everything right near that surface level. So kick just a little bit below the body, and then return the feet up, so then we can start generating that white water. Remember also, what we want to see is just a natural bend in the knee. We don't want to see too much of a bend, because otherwise what you're going to be doing is those legs are going to be moving back and forth really fast, but we're not going to actually be grabbing any water. When we allow for that natural bend, have those toes pointed, then what we're going to see here is just a nice strong kick here from the hips as we're moving through the water. And that's exactly what we want to see. As we transition then to the return view here from the side, we're going to want to kind of watch our athlete and do the same things, or make sure that we're emphasizing those same things. So here we're going to see the head in a flat position. Now remember, you may see a little bit of a droppage in the head here when they're transitioning. That's okay, as long as they get that head back up. And actually for older athletes, that's something we actually like. And then our athlete here is going to rotate to the other side. Hips and shoulders are up. Opposite side here is down. And on our return view, our athlete got the message and we had a nice strong kick. So then back in a flat, we have a nice strong kick. The other side here, we see the hips and shoulders up. Opposite side here is down. And we see, just again, great turbulence. Let's make sure we're watching the head positioning every single time. Times here we get that head up a little bit high. And here our athlete's going a little bit faster than, actually we're speeding it up a little bit. So it doesn't kind of feel like we would be moving that fast when we do this, this drill overall. And then we're going to transition to the underwater view so you guys can just kind of see that rotation. Here everything is moving downward. Let's make sure we're watching that head positioning, that we're kind of not too far up, not too far down. And our athlete does a good job. So just a little bit of a deeper on the head when we do that return. And another thing we could look for then is just going to be the kick, that we're not going to be kicking too far in front or too far in back, and we actually don't see the legs, so that's great evidence that we're in a good spot. Remember, throughout this drill, the hands also should be staying at the side as we're moving through the water. So thanks for watching our video. If you found some value out of it, be sure to drop a like and subscribe.